Hi, this is again Volleyball Explained Podcast about the Italian League. Ronnie is here, I'm here, Nico is busy, so unfortunately he won't be able to join us today. But still, we're going to talk about the events from the last four rounds in the Italian League, where some interesting events happened, and Perugia still hasn't lost a match. Actually, they hasn't lost even a set in the last four four games. Ronnie, what are your overall thoughts about what happened in the last since the last time we were together? Actually,
What happened is that from the second to the last team still winning and losing between them, and with Perugia is like another league. They are like they if they were playing alone. So yeah, it's interesting if your team of preference is from the second to the last. But if you are a Perugia fan, must be kind of boring. This is the most what's going to happen the league in the last 10 years maybe. I mean, I'm since my arrival to Europe, I never witnessed a league when you know who is gonna take it, or at least who can take it at the end of the year. I'm not just talking about the Italian league, because if you look all over the place, Perugia is like the main contender to win also the Champions League, the Coppa Italia. Yeah, that's the two trophies that are at the disposal. So yeah, we will have to wait if in a single match final like Champions League they doubt about themselves and maybe lose or not. No, but at this point it's very clear that they already won the regular season, and they just keep rotating players in order to get fresh to the conclusive match at the end of the year of the season. Sorry.
yeah, probably this is the biggest problem for their opponents, because even with the reserves team, with the substitutes, they can beat all of their rivals. Uh, Probably with the pure exception of Gianelli Ropret pair, the setters pair. In all other positions, they have very strong competition. Even if they play without Leon, they have Plotnitsky. Even when they play against without Riklichki, they have Herrera. Also Piccinelli with Colaci, or even Mengozzi, the veteran. And this is the biggest problem. Even with their substitute team, they can be in top three for sure. For sure, for me, maybe even again in the first place. But of course, later during the season, probably at the end of the regular season, we can talk about is someone able to contest them overall for the title. It doesn't look in this way so far.
In a series of best of five, I don't think so,
Yeah,
because you have to play more than one time, and it's hard to beat this Perugia. Imagine three times. So I don't think that any team in Italy can expect to do that if their main players get to the last part of the season fresh, like it will gonna happen. So yeah, but in Coppa Italia or in Champions League, the game might be different, because it's only one game. You only want to need to one game. But seeing the competition, and now the Russian teams cannot compete, I don't think any of the Polish team, who are the other rival country that the Italian have, is good enough to put some resistance to this Perugia team. we will have to wait if by the end of the season maybe Trentino or I don't think LUBE Civitanova with the current state can do some damage. But we think about the last season of LUBE, and they ended up winning the Superliga. So yeah. But of course, this is another LUBE Civitanova with a young generation coming. Your boy Nikolov is between them, and also Marlon Jan. And they are starting to think about the next season. For example, there are rumors that Paolo Porro might be coming to LUBE Civitanova and another young player. So I don't know what is the business with LUBE. Maybe they will create this young players generation, but for how long they can keep those players, because yeah, if they are not winning, maybe they will go to somewhere else. So but yeah, for sure, for the next season we will see a lot of changes. Perugia, I don't think, even if Gino Chilchi company is very profitable, I don't believe that they have the desire or the money to keep this super team around for one more season, especially if you have Ploniski, who want to be a starter player, and then you have Relishki, who have Italian citizenship sport, and that also means that he will for sure ask more money, because there is no a plenty of Italian opposites out there. So yeah, and that's give you the the opportunity or the possibility to hire another foreigner player. So that's important to recall. Yeah, let's see what happens, but it is very very hard to beat this Perugia team. The only thing I can criticize about Perugia is sometimes their lack of focus. For example, yesterday game, they were losing by 4-5 points versus Padova, which is by no means one thing that you can fear of. They have to win since the beginning of the game to the last point. You cannot afford to lose 4 points or 5 points versus those kind of teams, because you usually drop sets, and they lose sets versus Sirat Bank in Champions League. The both times they face, they lose sets against even Taranto. I mean, sometimes they lose the focus, and maybe I don't talk about those teams, but maybe another good team can take that chance and convert it in something else. And I'm talking about Trentino. If you saw the World Championship final, Trentino had the opportunity to win 2 sets and go into the fourth set with advantage. If Herrera didn't save that ball, maybe the result of the outcome of the match will be different. Who knows? But yeah, sometimes they lose their focus. So with that being said, everything is possible, but again, will be very hard.
Yeah, actually, the set won by Taranto is the last one won against Perugia in the league. So this is very strange, awkward fact. Yeah, and they beat Verona during the weekend. So they have 2 wins against Verona in this season, which is also strange because Taranto is 10th classified now.
We need to talk about Verona. What's going on? What is the business?
Yeah, I actually, firstly, let's say Verona is with 4 defeats in a row, and they haven't even won a set since their game against Piacenza, which they again lost 1-3. So I took out some statistic from the LUBE Volley website, and according to the statistic there, they are the worst performing team in terms of reception. They are 12th. However, they are actually second in terms of attack. So they're very good in compensating in attack. So that means that they play very good on high ball with Keita, Numori Keita, and Saposhkov and Rok Možić. However, this is pretty much the case when it comes to side out phase most of the time. Why? Because they are second in attack, but they are the team with the second least number of attacks in the whole league. Only Perugia have less attacks in terms of numbers, but Perugia is first in blocks per set. That means that they make their breakpoint.
Put some pressure on serve,
breaks,
of course.
Yeah, with blocks and also with aces. They're also first in aces. When we draw the line, that means that okay, Verona is very good in compensating in attack. They're not that good, pretty much bad reception, but they don't dig balls enough, and they are not. So, in simply said, they don't create their second chances and they don't create their chances after a defense. So reception, defense, and coverage after attacking and second attacks are pretty bad for Verona now. So these are the compartments where they need to improve highly if they want to get even a chance for the playoffs, because we know they started in top 3 in the first 5-6 games and then gradually became worse and worse, deteriorated, and now they are even on the 9th place, I believe 2 points, yes, 2 points after the team of Monza, which is the last the last place for the playoffs. What do you think? Did you watch, for example, the last match with Taranto?
Well, I did not watch that match because Verona let me down since they lose that horrendous game versus Trentino, who by no means are a super team, but they treat Verona like they were like teenagers. So in fact, they are teenagers in some cases. But I think this Verona team was built around the physicality of the players, and they didn't take into the consideration the other aspects of the game. They like you say, they rely too much in their first chances side outs. If they don't side out with the first ball, it turns very difficult to create another like opportunity to convert the point. So and it's funny because they maybe be the second best team in attack. Of course, Numori Keita have something to do with that. The guy is a beast in attack, but he also have to do with the fact that they are the last team in reception, because for me, Keita is like a outside hitter that doesn't how to receive, how to pass. So he doesn't know. He simply is was put in that position because if not, why do you hire Martin Sapochkov? So I think in the next seasons we will see. I don't know if Keita will stay in Italy, but wherever he goes, he will be treated as an opposite, because it is a waste of talent, and it's a liability, in for any team that wants to win, and they can, because they don't one of the outside hitters cannot receive. So yeah, I'm sorry for Verona, because I know you like them and you want Stoichkov to succeed in his career, but this isn't like this is not a sprint race. This is a resistant one. So you need to play the 20 22 games of the
22.
regular season, and the season isn't and the regular season isn't end yet. So and they are playing like that. So a team maybe without soul. I recently heard that Spirito is injured, so maybe that's one of the reasons in the recent games Rafael has been taking over.
He
He's not the
didn't.
same.
He didn't play against Spirito. Didn't play against Perugia, I believe, and he played on
Last game.
Saturday against
Oh.
Toronto.
I was thinking on betting in that match, but I remember that Verona, their worst enemy is themselves. So, and like I just let them pass. And when I watched the score again, I cannot believe it. I mean, it's Taranto, one of the worst teams in the league, with normal players. I mean, yeah. Another comparison that you could make about this Verona team is with the Cisterna. Both teams were made of from scratch, new teams, and even I think in Cisterna you have more people that are not well known by the mainstream community of volleyball. I know Keita from the Korean League. I didn't know Petar Dirlich, who have been very good this season. I think the next season he will get a decent contract, because he earned that chance. I don't know if it's gonna be to some big team, maybe in Poland, who knows? But he totally deserved it. Then you have Sedlacek and this Turkish guy. And the interesting about the Turkish young players is that they are starting to get out of Turkey, because in the past people like, I don't know if you follow or maybe know the Turkish league. I follow because of the Cuban, but many of the players who had such good physical conditions, they choose to stay there because of the money, So it's nice that player like Byron or Laguncia, Alice, are turn his eye to other leagues with more level, of course. And I expect that in the future, maybe the little brother of Laguncia, Mirza, can join to the Italian league. And at the end of the day, this is the place to be. So yeah, but very disappointing performance for Verona in the last the last matches.
Yeah, with regard to the Turkish teams, I watched Halbank against Zaverci in the Champions League, and it was a great match. Great match, and in all of the sets by one ended in only 2 points difference, and it was really a nice pleasure to watch it. Okay, that's enough for Verona. And what about Piacenza? Because Piacenza fired or actually, I don't know if he was fired or they mutually terminated the contract of the head coach Lorenzo Bernardi. But the ups and downs and in Piacenza are second to none. They were defeated by Modena easily. Then they won against Trento, and during the weekend they lost to Siena, the last team in the ranking in Italy, which was probably the biggest surprise of the of the weekend. So what do you think there? Because Leao, Lucarelli injured for some time, but again, I just want to mention here that yes, Perugia have star players, but we have very, very many examples that star players don't necessarily make a team, and Perugia succeeds in doing this, and Piacenza doesn't do it for several seasons in a row now.
Well, yeah, under the new management, you know that this is not the same Piacenza that once won the Italian league back in 2008, 2009. That was Normeccanica or Copra Piacenza, and this one is Gasales. Yeah, under the new management of Zlatanov, a countryman of yours, didn't have been the didn't have fulfilled the promises that he give to the main sponsors. You know, they thought that with the coming of Simon, Lucarelli, and Leal, they maybe will get a chance in the Italian league, but everything that they would thought that would happen didn't come true. First of all, the relationship of coach like Bernardi with his players have never been good. This happened in he coached Perugia, and then I heard things in Turkey too as well. I mean, the Italian have a strong sense of character. You know, I'm coming from the guy that was the best player of the century. I only can imagine that he only wants perfection. The thing is that he was a unique player, and all of your players maybe are not so unique like you. And sometimes coaches forget that. You know, not everybody is like Simon, for example, who has been excellent in the last two games. Simon, with 35 years, is spiking like an opposite with 24 games against who was the rival before the Siena. I don't remember. Trento, of course, and yesterday versus Siena, they lose, but you know, 25 points, five blocks, three aces. I mean, the guy really worth all the money you can get to give them, because there is no a single season after he left Cuba that Simon didn't win a trophy. Maybe this will be the first one, or maybe not, if they get to play the finals of the CUB Cup, which I think is the only chance they have, because watching how they play versus teams like, I don't know, Trentino or Modena, it will be very difficult to see them in the finals of the Serie A. Serie A. I mean, I think for now, the contenders are Modena, of course, and despite the loss yesterday versus Milan, and Trentino for playing for the championship. Then comes Piacenza, and then after Piacenza, Lube Civitanova. And then you have, well, with Lube, actually you have Milano also, and Cisterna. So just to see how deep has fallen Lube. And they were winners in 3 seasons in a row, maybe 4 if the pandemic didn't arrive. So yeah, Piacenza, I don't know. Maybe with that 2 players, they were not great. Without them, they are like now nothing, you know. Because as much as you like Recine, he is not a decisive player by any means. He's more like a libero turn around into outside hitter, you know. Luka Basic, he has been, you know, decent, but also is not a player that you hire to play. It's only that because of you have to hire 4 side hitters. And yeah, that's pretty much. Also, I want to mention that Brizard isn't connect too well with the players that he have under his belt. Maybe because of the fact that Piacenza receive or resection, whatever you want to call, isn't perfect either. It's a miracle that Simon received too many balls due to the circumstances. But yeah, also want to recall that.
Uh, Now I was looking at the roster of Siena. Do you believe that people like Pinali and Van Garderen and the veteran Nemanja Petric can take this out of jail card for Siena and leave them in the league?
I mean, I hope this victory against Piacenza gives them hope, but it's likely that they won't make it. So they have to. Like we are talking about the last year situation when in the last moment, Bio Valentia uh, was kicked out of the league because of a series of results. And yeah, like you mentioned, maybe after Coppa Italia, many of those players already have contracts, and due to the circumstances, they won't play too much focus as they should be. So unless something happens fast, maybe if they win one more match that give them more hope, the end is coming. So as soon as the Coppa Italia ends, teams start to moving and looking for players for the next season. That's what happened with Padova last season. And yeah, they the owners are against the clock right now. So yeah, it's more likely that Bio Valentia will come back next season. They are comfortably the leaders of the Serie A LUBE, and yeah, with some well-known player like what is the name of the Orduna, of course, and yeah, maybe not. I think they will be the team who will join the league next season. Uh, but for me, I don't take out Siena just yet. I mean, Siena is one team, Padova is the other. So let's see who don't make it.
Okay. Lastly, I would suggest to leave Trentino's shape form for the next edition where Nicole will be here. But lastly, Modena, what do you think about Modena? Because they lost their last match against Milano. But by the way, Milano was monstrous in blocking. They have 21 blocks for 4 sets. I watched
mean,
the last one, and it was really, really nice to watch when it comes to blocking. But what
you
do you
know,
think about them, about Modena?
at some point, Modena gets frustrated, and you cannot play volleyball with your head cloud. So they started to attack using only the force, not the brains, and it was very easy to the block of Milano with such a good technical middle blockers like Loser, who have been great all this year in Argentina national team, and of course Matteo Piano, and even that. I mean, Milano scored 21 blocks, and even the second opposite, who never entered to play, Christian Lawrence, Cuban-born Puerto Rican player, entered the court and he got himself a block. So that's how you see and tell that Modena was really frustrated yesterday. They couldn't do nothing. and I think they lose in Lüneburg in the CBB Cup, get them, because you know uh, how egocentric can be sometimes these stars like Ngapet, maybe Bruno, and yeah, they lose uh, in Lüneburg, which I think is the fifth team in Germany or 16 in Germany, and they didn't come to Milano with the most with the mindset to to have a perfect game and regain the the confidence. So Milano is not by any means another perfect team. They have been with their up and down all the season long, especially with the outside hitter position, and the opposite, as Patri didn't play so well this season either. So yeah, I think they are starting to get the LUBE Civitanova virus, and after a good 6 games in a row winning, they start to losing again, and they start to have doubts about themselves and starting to play like the beginning of the season where Modena were near to be found. So yeah, and in the meantime, Perugia keeps winning with the perfect score, and at this point, I think Anastasi could do more rotation and etc. Give more rest to Leon, for example. He used Herrera in the last 2 games in Champions League versus Ljubljana and this time versus Padova. And it's nice, make your players feels useful for once. Sorry, I was talking about Modena and then jump to Perugia. But yeah, mm, sadly for Modena, I think they will back to the usual business, losing a half not too good games. So yeah, sorry for that.
By the way, do you know who is the head coach of Lüneburg?
But wait, head coach of the Lüneburg. He maybe he's Argent now. It can't be Argentina. He's some Bulgarian guy. No,
No. It's Stefan Hübner.
some German guy.
Yeah.
Stefan Jub.
Yeah. But Stefan Hübner is a very interesting case because a lot of volleyball people name him when it comes to the some of the best middle blockers in the last I don't know
Oh,
20
that's why I recently listened another podcast, which for in terms of professionality I will not mention, but I was listening another podcast about a player who about 2 players who played in that team, and they was commenting about this guy who he's the coach of the team and was one of the best middle blocker when he was playing. I mean, what time was that? In the 90s, maybe? In the
uh
90s?
the
Late
90s
80s? Late
90s
80s?
and the beginning of the 21st century, I believe.
Well, I did not have the chance to hear about him. Maybe because, in terms of national team, sorry, Germany, in the beginning of the century were not found, like error 404 not found. So that's why I don't think I heard. I heard a lot of Dutch players, like Van der Goor and Sweiner, but in terms of German guys, come on, you know.
Yeah. Okay. I believe that was quite uh, enough. Even though, of course, there are a lot of topics, and we can do it a lot more extensively when also Nicole is here. But we we went to Perugia, Modena, Lube, Piacenza, Verona, Taranto, Siena, of
We're gonna
course,
speak about the Cisterna team too. So
yeah. Also, probably we will have another two editions until the end of the regular season. So after three or four rounds, we can have another podcast. And yeah, again, like this video if you watch it in YouTube, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Of course.
and of course, Happy New Year,
Even
because
Spake, yeah, Happy New Year, because this is our first podcast, and this should
the
be at the beginning, but still it's now so fine also here
will
to
be the last week, but due to the circumstances,
yeah.
this is what you got. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I honestly, I forgot that this is our first podcast for the
I
years.
just
Happy New Year, yeah.
I just want to hear about the FIBB when they release the VNL schedule. I know you are not so optimistic because the current situation, the Bulgarian Federation with the national team, but who knows? On the other side, good move by Karyagin. Maybe he will get court time in Toulouse.
Toulouse, yeah.
I think he doesn't belong to that league, and like Asparuhov, uh, his career can be turned into a very normal one. Let's see if he can keep his head up. That's it.
Okay. Bye bye, guys. See
Bye
you next
bye.
time. Bye bye.
See you. See you.